Hi guys, so today we are going to be doing the Popsicles Project. This is a project that is designed to teach you guys the basic tools in Adobe Illustrator. Each popsicle design is built using a variety of different tools, and ultimately it is a good step towards getting you guys professional in this program. So, first things first, I'm going to hit home, but you all should be on a screen something like this. Obviously no projects. We're going to hit new file. We want it to be 11 by 17 in a landscape position. Always make sure we're working in inches unless told otherwise. So 11 by 17 inches. We're going to name our file Popsicles name. So Popsicles your first name. It's really important when naming your file that you use lowercase and that instead of spaces you put dashes. So it'll be Popsicles your first name. If I have multiple of you in my class, hit Popsicles name last name. Just to make sure that there's no confusion when grading. We want to make sure we are working in 300 dpi or ppi, that's just dots per inch. And we can go CMYK color mode, that should be fine. Then you'll just hit create. That will take you to this screen. So, the next step, we would rather work in Essentials Classic. So this is your workspace. So this workspace is just called Essentials. We want to switch to Essentials Classic. So to switch it, we're going to go up here to the top right, press this button in the top that says Switch Workspace. Then we will switch it to Essentials Classic. The reason we are going to use this mode in my class is because it keeps everything pretty much right in front of you. You don't have to search super hard to find any of these tools. So if you're really struggling to find where your properties or any of these tools up top, they're all very easy access. So, that really is the beginning part of this project. That's step one. For our next step, we are going to be making this popsicle. So, to get started with that, we are going to go to our rectangle tool, which you can get to by pressing M on your keyboard. And we are going to make a tall, skinny rectangle. Alright. After you have made your tall, skinny rectangle, you are going to take your direct select tool. That's A on the keyboard, or it is the white arrow. You are going to click one anchor point in the top left, hold down your shift key, and then click your top right anchor point. Notice how it only selects the top ones. It makes these little blue circles pop up below the corners. So only the top ones are selected. So then we can then go to that corner ball and round that corner. It'll make it to where our popsicle has a slightly rounded top. Okay. Now we're going to hit M on our keyboard again. That is going to take us back to our rectangle tool. And we're going to make one tall, skinny rectangle inside of our first one. So, I want this to be centered properly in our popsicle. So I'm actually going to select that using our regular selection tool, that is V on the keyboard. And then I'm going to hold down Shift and click our big popsicle. So we have both of the shapes selected. Then I'm going to come up to the top and press the horizontal align center button and the vertical align center button. That will just make it to where there's an equal space all around. And actually, I just lied to you guys. So I'm going to copy this. So to copy this, we are going to drag it off to the side while holding Shift and Option. You're going to let go of your cursor first, then let go of Shift and Option. Otherwise, if I let go of Shift and Option first, it won't duplicate. Alright. So then we'll kind of align that with our popsicle. And we can go up here again if we need to. I want to make sure that the tops of these are rounded, so to do that, I'm going to hold shift while selecting all of these with my direct select tool, only the top ones, and then we will round it completely. Then I'm actually going to go into the bottom ones, and we're going to round those just a little bit. No specific numbers here, just a tiny bit. Same with the popsicle body. That'll end up with something like this. I want a little more space in mine. There we go. So now we are going to take our we're going to make our popsicle stick. So to do that, the easy way, honestly, is just to duplicate one of these again. Come up top. You see how when I go around the top corner, it makes a little, like a right turn arrow. If you hold shift while that arrow is present and drag with your cursor, you can rotate it. You can rotate it without holding shift as well, but it won't do it smoothly. See how it's kind of snapping in place when I do it this way? We want it to snap in place. Alright, then we'll move this to where it needs to be. And then I'm going to hit Command left bracket. Your left bracket, because I know you guys can't see my keyboard, is this. Nope, is this. So this is your left bracket. On your keyboard. So you're going to hit Command left bracket. Doing that will move your stick behind the shapes that are currently behind it. So it'll move it behind. Hitting Command right bracket is going to move things forward. So Command left bracket back, Command right bracket forward. Awesome. So we want that all the way in the back so it kind of looks like a popsicle stick. And I'm also going to go ahead and select all of that with my regular selection tool and drag it up so that it's pretty well centered. Alright. Now, before we start worrying about color, let's go ahead and get this popsicle in the correct shape. So, we need to use our pen tool. We want to make this, this bite mark in the side of our popsicle. So to do that, we're going to take our pen tool, that's P on the keyboard, sorry. You are going to click an anchor point outside of the popsicle, click where you want your first tooth mark to go, and then drag without letting go of your keyboard. So then you'll go back. So if I was to try to make the next tooth, see how it'll do some like funky curves? To stop that, you're going to go back and click your previous anchor point, go to where you want to make the next tooth mark, click and drag again. And you'll repeat that until you have a mouth or a bite mark that goes all the way across your popsicle. Now it's up to you guys where you guys leave this bite mark. If you want to put it up top, you can put it up top. If you want to put it on the bottom, I'm okay with that as well. Just make sure you guys make this shape right here. Now, these are a little bit pointy, so to fix that, we are going to go in with our curve tool. There is a command for it, and that is Shift, comma, or sorry, Shift, colon, I'm not sure, it's this up here. But usually I will just press that in the toolbar. So you'll go to it, and then you can go into each one of your previous tooth marks, and you can just move them around a little bit. So this, the curve tool will edit previously made lines and make them much smoother. So it'll make it look like a much cleaner bite. So you'll get it kind of where you want it. That one might be a little pointy, so. And this is where you can get a little more nitpicky about your stuff. There we go. after you guys have it pretty much how you like it, to where it looks like there's a bite taken out of it, we want to actually cut this shape out of these shapes. So the way we are going to do that, first off, I'm actually going to revisit my popsicle stick. This doesn't really affect you guys. I just want mine to be a little wider, I think. Yeah. No. I lied. I might cut that out. I might not. Alright, so let's cut this shape out. So to do that, we're going to select our shape, hit Command C, that's going to copy. Command Shift V is going to paste it in place. You can hit Command V as well, but as you can see, it won't paste it in the same place where you copied it. So Command Shift V places it in the same place you copied it, and we do need that for this. So then we are going to go up to our window, which I think mine's off my screen, I'm so sorry, but right above in this general area it says window, so you're going to go window, and then in the pop-ups that pop up, you are going to go to Pathfinder. Window Pathfinder. It should pull that up, something like this. You're going to use this tool very often, so I recommend taking it and dragging it off to the side. If you take it down to the bottom, it won't really work, but if you bring it up top, it'll pull up this blue bar. You can just leave that there. It'll make it to where it always stays there. So then we're going to select our shape. Then we're going to hold Shift and select the body of the popsicle. That's the big shape of the popsicle. Then you'll go into your Pathfinder and go to the one that's called minus front. It's in your shape modes, and if you press that, I'm going to move this real quick. You see what it did? It has cut our shape out of that big shape. So then you're going to hit your big shape and go Command left bracket until it's all the way in the back. Sorry, aside from the popsicle stick. Then you're going to select your shape again, Command C, Command Shift V, that just we need another copy. Then you're going to hold Shift and select the smaller shape. And again, we're going to hit the same button. The reason I went ahead and made a second or a third copy of this, you guys may not have to do this, but I do have to do it for my design. There's a popsicle stick down here, and my popsicle stick is overlapped by my teeth. So I want to go ahead and select my shape, hold Shift, and I'm going to select my popsicle stick as well. Then I'm going to hit the same one. However, another place where Pathfinder stuff can be found sometimes, not every Pathfinder, but some of them, if you look into your properties panel, this is the same thing as minus front. So you can click that. There we go. So now we can Command left bracket till that's all the way in the back. So this is actually the completed popsicle almost. We just have to start worrying about color. So if we go back to this, notice how we don't use solid colors in this popsicle design. It's kind of smoother transitions where shadow would be. So you're going to select your big shape, because that's the first one we want to worry about. I'm going to make this a chocolate popsicle. You guys are more than welcome to make it whatever you guys want. So first things first, I'm going to go over here to my left. This is my fill. The fill is basically your shape color. If I click this other box, this is my stroke. Stroke is basically the outline color. So we want to switch the fill first. I'm making a chocolate popsicle, so I'm going to go in here till I find a good chocolatey color. Something like this. Then I will hit OK on the keyboard. Alright, so I'm also going to then select my smaller shape. I'm going to hold Shift, select my other small shape. Then I'm going to hit I on the keyboard. This takes me to my eyedropper tool. It's the one over here to the left. I'm going to then click my big shape. That makes it to where these smaller shapes are also that same brown. But I actually want these to look like they're a little like into the popsicle, like that there's a bit of a indentation. So to do that, I'm going to click this, go to my fill, sorry, and then I'm going to lower my fill, make it a little darker. That will just make it to where it's solid. All right. Now, I actually want to still get that smooth transition like I was talking about earlier. So to do that, you are going to select your shape, go up here. This is your gradients panel. If you can't find it, you can go Window, Gradient, and open that up. Then we are going to hit Linear Gradient. Linear Gradient's one of the first options. See how it'll instantly swap this up? We are going to go off to where it says where the black is. Double click it. And I'm going to make mine just a deeper brown, like a darker brown. That just makes it to where it looks like there's a shadow being cast on the right side. Now I want to do something similar for these inside ones. However, with the way the shadow would cast on these, it would most likely be the opposite. So we have our popsicle in here. So now we're going to go to where it's this angle button is. Press the drop down, and I'm going to hit -90. Nope, sorry. -180. That will put the shadow on the other side. This time we'll go in here and make it again just a darker brown.
Sounds right.
Alright. So another thing I want to personally do is make my stroke bigger. That's the outline around the popsicle. So to do that, I'm going to select my shapes, all of my shapes, come over here to the right where it says stroke, and I'm going to up that number. I'm thinking something like 4 is too much. So 3, maybe 3. But I want my stroke to be a different color. So I've mentioned earlier we can change the color of fill, but you can also change the color of stroke. So I'm going to select all my shapes again. Then over here, I'm going to click my stroke, go into my panel, and make it a dark brown. Alright. So, now I want to do my popsicle color. Sorry, popsicle stick color. So I think it would be good if the popsicle stick was like a tan-ish color. Something like that. And then we're going to go into our gradient panel again. This time 90 degrees is going to be the best spot for that. Because our popsicle stick is so tall, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and make it smaller. So if I zoom into here, you see how I can see all of these anchor points? If I go in and I click each one of those while holding shift, I will select only those anchor points. Then if I hold shift while dragging it down, it will move the whole stick down. It does look like I've missed one, but that's okay. We can get rid of that. So to get rid of that, and you guys, you may not miss one, but I did. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to two-finger click my pen tool. Behind it, there's something called a delete anchor point tool. I can just go in and delete those anchor points to clean it up. And then I'm going to move that. Okay, mine got all messed up. So, plan B. After I have my popsicle stick, I'm just going to go in here while having only my popsicle stick selected. So if I have nothing selected and I use the tool I'm about to use, it will just put a big slash through it. But if I select my popsicle stick, it will only erase the popsicle stick. So to get to your eraser, you're just going to press Shift E on your keyboard, and I'm just going to hold Shift and draw a line across. Now, it should be separate, and it is. So I'm going to reapply this gradient because it is now a different shape. There we go. So now we want to make this just a slightly darker color of the khaki. Something like that will probably be okay. In fact, I actually think I want to change it just a little more. So we're going to go over here to the hex code. That's the hashtag and then a bunch of numbers. You can also find hex codes in here, although not with this. So if I make this solid color again, I can double click it. This is our hex code. Alright, so back into here we go one final time. I'm going to double click this. I'm going to paste in the hex code that I just copied. That was Command C, and now I'm going to Command V it into here. That will make it to where it's the same color on both sides. And then I can just go in here and play around with the sliders to get it a slightly darker color. That should be a little smoother of a transition. Alright, last couple steps with this first popsicle. We want to add a highlight. So I'm going to go back to my pen tool. That's P on the keyboard. I'm going to hold Shift and create a couple of lines going across. When I get to this top one, see how I kind of did an L shape? You are going to do the same. So now, I'm going to select both of the line and the shape I just made. I'm going to get rid of this fill, because we just want the line. So to get rid of the fill, with the fill selected in your fill and stroke section, you are going to press this white box with a red slash across it. That will hide it. Now we want to turn this into a highlight. So to do that, we're going to first make it white. Then we are going to come over here to the right, and we're going to make it a little thicker. Then we're going to press the word stroke. We're going to press the word stroke so that we can round the caps. That'll just make it to where it's rounded on the ends. Alright, the last couple steps, we are going to select it. Go in and with our direct select tool, select just this corner point, and bring it in. You may have to play around with it just a tiny bit. I think I want to move mine over a little. So I'm going to select both of those and move them over. Alright, with them both selected, might as well just keep it that way. We're going to come over here to the right, press the word opacity. I can try these different modes. I'm thinking multiply, maybe not multiply, maybe hard light's usually a pretty good one, yeah. And then you can lower the opacity. Probably something like 25 is pretty reasonable. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now for our last step, we're going to add a shadow to this popsicle. So to do that, you're going to select your popsicle. You are going to hit Command C, Command Shift V, that's to paste it in place. You're going to come to your top right, hit Object, Expand. So, Object, Expand, it'll say Fill and Stroke, you'll hit OK. Then you're going to go back into your Pathfinder. Again, if you can't find that, that's Window Pathfinder. Then you're going to hit Unite. You may have a problem like I just had. So to do that, let's go ahead and solve that issue. So, with your popsicle selected, the whole popsicle, the second one, you are going to hit Command G. Command G is going to group it together. Okay, I'm going to start back from this step because I had that already expanded, which won't work. So I'm going to hit Command C, Command Shift V. Then I'm going to hit Command G, and that just makes it to where this top one is grouped together. So instead of having to move individually, if I just click this, I can drag it off. So the reason we're having problems, where when I did that expand, it made it look a little funky, is because we have gradients on here. So on this new copy, we're going to go up here real quick and just make that all black. All of your fills are black. All of your strokes are black. So now it's all solid color. So if I go do the same process where we go up top and hit Object, Expand, it says Fill and Stroke, you'll just hit OK. Then you can go Pathfinder, Unite. Now we don't have any issues. This is all one solid shape. And we're all good. So now we want to make this a deep purple. So you're going to go into your panel, You're going to find a good shade of purple, whatever works for your color scheme. For me, mine's going to be a little more on the pink side, but that's okay. I'm going to hit OK. Then, with only this top shape selected, you will hit E on your keyboard. That'll take you back to your eraser. And you are going to, or sorry, Shift E on your keyboard. That'll take you back to your eraser. Then you are going to do a slash. And it may take a few tries. Remember, you can hit Command Z to undo stuff. I don't think I had told you guys that yet. I'm so sorry. You can hit Command Z on your keyboard to undo a move. Hitting Command Shift Z will redo a move. So after you've made your slash, you're going to come in here and just delete that top shape. That'll leave you with a big purple shape. You'll select it, click opacity again. This time we are going multiply, and then you'll lower the opacity to something like 25. 25 is a little too much on mine, so let's go ahead and go 15, it looks like. 15 is pretty reasonable. So that is our very first popsicle. On to the next one. Alright guys, we are going to be knocking out our second popsicle. So if we go back to this screen over here, we are going to be doing this one right here. It has a cherry on top, has some drips. This one's not too bad. In fact, it uses almost all of the same tools as our last one. So, first things first, let's copy our popsicle. Or sorry, select our popsicle, then we will duplicate. You know, I say I did that, but I don't think we can really duplicate this one because we've had the bite marks taken out of it. So instead, we're going to make a new tall, skinny popsicle. The only thing I do want to make sure we duplicate is this popsicle stick. So I had to move the shadow out of the way for that, but I'll move the shadow, then I'm just going to Command C it. If I hit Command C, that copies it, so I can go ahead and hit Command Z to undo the movement of the shadow. And then I can just Command V to paste that back in. See these pink bars that are popping up whenever I move this around? Those are guides. They're alignment tools. So what I'm doing is it's making sure that this popsicle is lined up perfectly with the last one. So I'm going to Command right bracket our big shape. And we're going to go ahead and take our direct select tool around the top. Same as we did with the last one. And we're going to semi-round the bottom. Same as we did with our last one. So, the easier way of getting a gradient on this popsicle is we're going to start off by just taking our eyedropper tool, that's I on the keyboard, and then pressing our last popsicle. Now I want to make this one a banana popsicle personally, so I'm going to go into my gradient panel, and I'm going to change the colors. Make the one on the left a lighter shade of yellow, while the one on the right is a darker shade. And I say darker shade, but in reality, when working with a color like yellow, it's usually going to look better to make the right shade, or the darker shade, an orangey color. Now, one thing is I want to keep my colors consistent as I go through. So to do that, I'm going to make sure that I just leave my stroke as that dark brown. I don't want to make that a different color. What I do want to do is add our chocolate sauce to the popsicle. So to do that, I'm going to first off duplicate this in case I need this at any other point down the line. So I did that again by dragging it while holding Shift and Option. Let go of your cursor first, then let go of Shift and Option. That'll make sure it duplicates. Or you can just hit Command C, Command V. That also works. Alright, now we're going to hit P on the keyboard. That's going to take us to our pen tool again. And we're going to make drips. So to do that, I'm outside of this popsicle. Then I'm going to go to where I want my drip to end. Click and drag. This is pretty much the same process as when we made the tooth marks. The only difference is that with the tooth marks we were trying to do kind of a round-ish figure. This time I'm wanting to keep it pretty flat. Little drip marks. Alright, after we have that, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to hold shift just to straighten my stuff, and finish off that kind of shape. Now I'm not quite done yet. I want to add an extra drip here, and I'm going to do that by just using my pen tool, clicking and dragging. And now I want to round all of these drips a little more. So we're going to go back to our curve tool. It's a good habit to use your curve tool anytime you are rounding things. You can always go back in. It takes a little more time. It is a little more intricate. However, it almost always looks better because it'll create smoother curves, and they're much more clean. Another thing that's kind of cool about the curve tool is it can move previous anchor points as well, kind of like how the direct selection tool does. So you can use it to really just touch up your work. Makes things more refined. You can also select an anchor point or a curve point and hit delete on your keyboard to remove them. There may be times where you're doing that as well. You can click somewhere where there's not already a point to add new ones. In the end, when you're completely happy with how the drips are looking, you will, if it is two separate shapes the way I have mine, you will select both of them and hit Command G to group them together. Then we will edit them together. So I want this top cream to be like a vanilla cream. So I'm going to go ahead into my gradient panel again, and I'm going to make it a very white vanilla color. And for our shadow on that one, it'll be pretty subtle. Alright, so now that we have this selected, you're going to hit Command C on that and then delete it. Alright, now we are going to go into this popsicle right here, like the body of our popsicle. Then off to the left, there's this button right here that's called Draw Inside. You're going to press that button and then hit Command V. That's going to paste the drip design we had back in. I'm not the biggest fan of having a stroke on that drip. So to get rid of the stroke, we're going to do the same thing we did to get rid of our fill earlier. So you are going to select the stroke box, and then you are going to press the white box with a red slash. That will get rid of it, and it'll make it hidden as if it's one piece. You can then just press this button again. That'll go out of the same mode we were in. And there we go. Last couple of steps with this popsicle are the same as last time. We're going to add our highlight first. So you're going to create a L shape going up your popsicle. This time, we're going to go to our eyedropper tool and just click our previous one. So it'll get all of the same style. So it'll have the rounded edges, or the rounded ends, and it'll have the same transparency and everything. Then you'll go to your direct select tool, press the corner, and go ahead and round it so that it follows the same contour as our popsicle. There we go. Highlight already done. Now we are going to select everything, Command C everything, Command Shift V everything, and then Command G everything. That'll make it to where we have a second copy directly on top. Then we're going to do the same process as last time, where we're going to come to the fill, make it all black, come to the stroke, make it all black. The only reason we have to do that is because we're using so many gradients. Now, this is likely to cause problems in our next step, but that'll be okay. So now we're going to go Object, Expand, boom. Then you're going to hit Unite, and that's what I thought was going to happen. So what it did is when we expanded everything, it also expanded the drips in their original state, but that won't really affect us. If you want to avoid that, so I'm going to delete that for now, but if you want to avoid that, you would need another popsicle shape that doesn't have the drips in it, and you would Command-C, Command-Shift-V, same process, black fill, black stroke, object, expand, and then unite that. So now this one doesn't have that issue. So we're going to go to our eyedropper tool, click our last shadow, and then we can go in here with our eraser and clean it up. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. This is almost our entire popsicle done. I'm going to go ahead and move mine down a little bit because I want to add a cherry on top. Or actually, you know what, a cherry is probably the best thing to show you guys. So we're going to do that by adding a sphere. So if we go to our rectangle, we're going to 2-finger click that. That'll pull up this window. We're going to go to our ellipse tool. Hold shift and create a circle. Now a cherry is probably not going to be a solid circle like what we have here. So let's go ahead and make it not so solid. So we're going to go in here to our curvature tool, or curve tool, and you can manipulate these curves to make it a little more wonky, probably more realistically how a cherry would look on top of a popsicle. Then we are going to make it a red color by going into our gradient panel. Oh. So, in case you just saw what I did there, whenever I tried to make that a gradient, I had my stroke selected. We're keeping our stroke solid throughout this entire project, but we can go ahead and select our gradient instead, or sorry, our fill instead, and then we can go back up to our gradient and change it up. I'm going to go with a reddish pinkish color. And something like that for our cherry color. You guys may not have this problem, but I do have a problem where I'm not able to add a stem to this cherry because it's too tall. So I'm going to select both popsicles and I'm going to hold down Command and Shift. And I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit. Holding down Command and Shift will make sure that it's not warped. You never want to warp your projects. So, let's add a stem to this tool, or to this popsicle. So to do that, you're going to use your pen tool. We are going to click where we want the stem to start, click where we want it to end, and then just drag to create the stem itself. Remember earlier, to get rid of the fill, we're going to press the white box with a red slash. And because we just want a stroke, I'm going to thicken this stroke, probably quite a lot. 9 seems pretty reasonable, and then I'm going to go into the width tool, W-I-D-T-H tool, that's Shift W. It has the ability to edit thickness. So you can then make it to where it's a little thicker on the top than it is the bottom. A little more stem, or a little more stem-like. And I might shrink it just a tiny bit. If you're not happy with the curve, you can remember we can always go in with our curve tool. And that's even after editing, like it's fine to go back in now. And in the end, we'll be all good. If you want, we can then add a shadow to this, so it's going to be Command-C, Command-Shift-V. You're going to get rid of your fill, or sorry, get rid of your gradients by making it solid black. Object, expand, and then unite. Add your little slash in, go to your eyedropper tool, and click one of your old shadows. Then you'll delete the big shape, and we have a shadow on our cherry. Let's also give it a little highlight. I'm going to use the pen tool this time for a highlight because it's a little more organic. Eyedropper tool, click our previous highlight. Now, this doesn't make much sense, our highlight going over top of our stem like that. So I'm just going to select my stem, command right bracket until it's in front of it. Now we have 2 completed popsicles. We should probably move on to our third now. Alright guys, time for Popsicle 3. Sorry I'm kind of going through these pretty quickly, but don't have a lot of time this week. So, our third popsicle is going to end up being this one right here with the sprinkles. In my honest opinion, I think it might be the easiest popsicle that we can knock out. So to do that, we're just going to knock it out real quick. So we're going to start off with using our duplicated shape from earlier. We'll make a new one. So remember, it's Option and Shift while dragging to duplicate. Then we're going to make it shorter, and we're going to make it wider. About like that. So, our next step for this popsicle, we are going to select it. Has to be selected with our regular selection tool, not direct selection. Then you're going to hit your E or Shift E on your keyboard, sorry, to your eraser. And then you're going to hold Shift and drag it across twice. That will separate your shape into 3 different shapes. We can then click each one of those individually and move them down. So they will literally snap into place. Now that it's aligned perfectly, we're going to make these 3 different colors. I'm thinking like Neapolitan kind of deal, like a Neapolitan ice cream popsicle. So I want to do strawberry in the middle, chocolate up top, or no, sorry, we'll go chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. So we'll go vanilla here. I'm going to use the same colors that I used in the cream for this one. So I'm just going to use my eyedropper tool and select that again. Now for the chocolate, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but for our first popsicle. Now one thing I will point out is if you look at this space right here, is I had my stroke removed on the cream. So when I used the eyedropper tool, it got rid of our stroke. So to add it back, we want to make sure we're using the same color as all the others. So I'm going to select my chocolate, click the stroke, go to my hex code, highlight the hex code, Command C. Then I'm going to go back to the vanilla, double click my stroke, Command V, paste it in. Now that's not the right thickness. So if we click our chocolate again, you see how this is a 3 point? We're going to go back and up that to 3. There we go. So we have chocolate, vanilla, and we want to make this one strawberry. I don't have a pink color, so we're going to go ahead into our gradient panel and make a new one. Again, make sure you have your fill selected, not your stroke. And I'm going to pick a couple pink colors. I'm thinking probably more on the reddish pink for my design. That's a good shadow color. We need a better main color. Something like that. That looks kind of strawberry-y. Now we want our popsicle stick. This time I think I want 2 sticks on this guy. No, we'll stick with 1. We'll do 2 for the last one. So I'm going to drag my shadow off, click my stick, Command C, then I'm going to hit Command Z to bring our shadow back, and then I'm going to hit Command V to bring our stick in. I'm going to use my guides. So it'll have a guide that goes vertically to tell me that it's centered with my popsicle, and it'll have a guide horizontally that'll tell me I'm aligned with all of my other popsicle sticks. Now that it's here, I'm going to Command left bracket till it's in place. And now we can start doing the fun stuff with this popsicle. So I think the first thing we're going to worry about is the drips on the bottom of the popsicle, because this one's melting a little bit. So we're going to use our rectangle tools and make maybe 4 or so little drips along the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and make it the same color as the body. After you make 1, it's probably just going to make sense to duplicate it till they're all in the correct spots where you want them. So So I'm gonna let mine drip. About like that. Once you have them all, you are going to select all of your drip shapes and your big shape. Then you're going to come over here to the Shape Builder tool. Then you can literally click and drag to merge your shapes. So now it looks like it's just melting a little bit. It's pretty fun. Now we want to do sprinkles. Sprinkles are cool. So we're going to do that by creating a pattern. To create our pattern, you're going to use your rectangle tool. Make a rectangle off to the right of your popsicle. Something like this. It should be about this size relationship. If your popsicle's this big, make a rectangle this big. Select your rectangle. Then you're going to go up to the top where it says Object. So you're going to go Object, Pattern, Make. That's going to take you into a window like this. First things first, we are going to delete. So we're going to select and then delete our square. Then we are going to make our sprinkles. I'm going to go with stars. In fact, I'm actually going to go with 4 pointed stars. And you can do that by going to your star tool. And then instead of clicking and dragging, you can just click once and it'll let you choose how many points are going to be on your star. So I'm going to do 4 points. Then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to edit them a little bit. So I'm going to do like little 4 pointed rounded stars. You're going to want to make them whatever size you want them to be on your popsicle now. I'm also going to give mine no stroke. I don't want a stroke on these. But whatever size you're going to want them to be on your actual popsicle, you should do that at this step. So I'm going to go in. This takes a second. Make a whole bunch. I might make some size variants, so some of them are going to be smaller. And then I'm just going to move them all around. Once you have them all moved around, I recommend going in and pretty much randomly choosing them. So actually, first things first, let's select them all, make them all solid color. I don't recommend using gradients for this. But then we will go in, randomly choose them, and I'm going to do pretty standardy colors. So I'm going to go like a pinkish color, more on the reddish pink. Then I'm going to do a brownish color, but a very light brown. It's a fun sprinkle color. Maybe a yellow. Just try to think about colors that would look good with what the colors you're already using are. And I think we'll use a red for our last one. My red is going to pretty much be brown. So then I'll hit done on the keyboard. That will take you, or sorry, not on the keyboard. You'll hit done in the top left. Although I have to go back because it didn't change mine to red apparently. So let's fix that. Oh, I see. It skipped a couple steps. So I'll add my yellow back too. So then I'll hit done. That'll take you back to your popsicles. You can delete the square, you won't need it anymore. Then we are going to select our the top part of our newest popsicle. Command C, Command Shift V, that will duplicate it. In this top shape, we are going to get rid of our fill. Or actually, instead of getting rid of it, what's going to be a better idea is to just select that fill. So make sure you have the fill selected. Come over here to your... Why don't I have mine popped up? Okay. And if it's not popped up, then you are going to go Window Swatches. Window Swatches. Oh, I see. I moved mine to the bottom. That's why I couldn't find it. So in Swatches, you'll see that the pattern you made just a few minutes ago, a few seconds ago even, is in here. So you can make the fill your pattern. That'll make it look like there's sprinkles on top of your popsicle. For our last step, I am actually just going to duplicate my highlight. Well, sorry, our last couple steps. I'm going to duplicate my highlight from the other popsicle. And then edit it just a little bit so that it fits this one. I lied. It's more work doing that than it would be to just make a new one. So to make a new one, let's just make a quick L. In fact, this time, maybe it'd be cool if the highlight breaks at the top and then continues a little bit. Sometimes using a shortcut isn't the right method. We'll round it, select them, and then hit the eyedropper tool. Alright. Now, for our last step, select your popsicle, Command C, Command Shift V, then we're going to hit Command G. I'm going to go ahead and put this in isolation mode to get rid of this pattern. So to do that, we want to delete this top shape, but obviously now that we've hit Command G, you can't because it selects the whole shape. So to do that, you're just going to click it a bunch, and you'll see that the whole screen will kind of go white around it, but it will let me select it. Then I can just hit delete. Now we have this, and we can do black fill, black stroke, object, expand, unite. So it's all one solid shape. Eyedropper tool, select our old shadow, eraser tool, do the slash. And keep in mind the way you've been doing it earlier, so it's probably going to make sense, for me anyways, to do it a couple times. Until I get it in the right angle. That looks pretty good. Then I'm going to delete that. And boom. That is popsicle number 3. Completely finished. Time for our 4th.